Welcome back to SR Auto Group, guys. Today we are in Richmond, British Columbia at the Trove warehouses where we store most of our cars. I have my 6x6 on the left-hand side of me. I have a 4x4 squared on the right side. We thought it'd be a good idea while I still have these two here to tell you a little bit about them. Now, we've done a bunch of stuff already to the 6x6, but I'm going to walk you through that as we go along in the video. The 4x4 square we built quite a bit ago, both BRABUS cars, but I just got it back and there's a lot of little things that we need to do. Not much to talk about, just like this. Let's get going and I'll show you. Guys, what we're looking at here is a BRABUS B40 500. It's based on a G550 in North America, and what it is, it's an aesthetics package and an engine package. It pretty much, well, is one of the coolest things you can actually buy in North America and legally drive. Now, this car is a B40, so what that really means is it has all the BRABUS aesthetics and the engine upgrade. So we got the BRABUS hood, we got the BRABUS lit up lights. What this car doesn't have actually is the BRABUS grille, which we'll talk about as we go further. It has the LED lights from BRABUS, the side marker replacements, it has the snorkels. This one even has the factory Mercedes carbon fiber inlays. Now, a lot of people don't know about this, but you can actually buy this from Mercedes. It was about $800 for every piece, including this small piece from BRABUS that you can also buy. Now, other things that this car has that not regular G550s have: the BRABUS side step, the BRABUS center caps, the BRABUS entry boards, the floor mats, BRABUS paddle shifters, so on and so forth. But the real cool thing about this truck is under the hood. So under the hood, what you have is this. So it's called the BRABUS B40 500. It has 500 horsepower. And it's just, as I said as we were driving, it's probably one of the coolest things to drive other than a regular G63 or a G550. This is a complete package car. It was built in BC at SR Auto Group. Now, when I built this for our client initially 2 years ago, he was of the mind that he wanted to keep this Mercedes emblem in the middle here, and he didn't want the BRABUS hood. So when I got this car back a couple weeks ago, I instantly put the BRABUS hood back on. But I haven't had a chance to put the BRABUS emblem, but that's arrived. So when we get back to the shop, I'll show you how we can put that in. Now, around the car, really, there's a lot of neat stuff. So I told you about the sideboards, BRABUS exhaust, which is a Valvetronic exhaust. You can control it on the steering wheel. Now, something really interesting about BRABUS trucks, which I've never understood, but I kind of have an idea why. The BRABUS square body cars, like the G63 4x4 squared, the regular G-Wagons, whatever, BRABUS always replaces the rear bumper with their own style with this diffuser and the third brake light. So the interesting thing about the BRABUS bumper is most people always do it one color. So they do the white with the white. I really like to have a black and white setup. Usually on white cars is what I really like. So I always do the diffuser in black. Now, this is the 4x4 square. When you come over here and look at the 6x6, it has the regular G-Wagon back bumper. Now I'm talking every G-Wagon since God knows when has had this rear bumper, and I always wondered why they never did the style upgrade on the truck this big that everybody looks at. Now, I'm pretty sure it's because of this giant pan here and the fuel tank being underneath here. Don't take my word for it, I'm not an engineer or what have you, but my opinion, BRABUS one looks good on this. This one obviously looks amazing on that. So guys, we're in the back of the 6x6. Now the reason I'm showing you this, A, is because it looks pretty damn cool to have a pickup truck behind your four-seater G-Wagon. But the cool part about this truck is that we have the spare tire in there. We got some bamboo wood. Now, the biggest thing about this wood, and the reason again I'm showing it to you, is because when I got this car, it was in pretty rough shape, especially the back and certain items. So this was re-varnished, but nobody actually took the time to sand it and get rid of the cracks and what have you. So at this point, I've already sanded it down, or I've planed the top. It still needs a little bit more sandpaper. We're gonna go with a higher grit to just smoothen it out. And then I'm gonna do a matte finish, and everybody knows how much I like the matte finishes. I'm going to do a matte finish on this so it protects it, so it makes it waterproof. Now I'll show you inside. So as I was telling you guys earlier, all this aluminum we just had repolished. This guy got repolished. We had to take this right out of the car to get this actually complete. This tire, I don't know if you can see it, Cole, the tire is brand new, but the Hutchinson wheel is a bit worse for wear. This needs to be taken apart at the shop. Center cap's got to come out, everything's got to be taken apart, and we got to refinish these wheels. Now, I've never seen a 6x6 with polished wheels before, so I had this inkling because it looks so good on the 4x4 squared. I was thinking to myself, why don't we do it on this car? So don't quote me on it, but I think we might actually change it up a bit. Now, since we're in the back of the 6x6, let me tell you a bit about it. So this is a 700. As you can see, I've taken the 6x6 emblems off here, but I've left the 700. And the Brabus I've done upside down just for fun. So let's put that, what's it called? Now let me tell you why this is in such a disarray. This specific vehicle, when I got it, everything was blacked out. Now, it's cool if you want to do a blackout look and so on and so forth, but when you have a special car like a G63 6x6 where there's only 100 of them in the world, the last thing you need is to take it to a shop and have them spray paint everything that was properly done, chromed. Like, look at how nice this looks, Cole. Proper, chrome, nice, clean. The days of spray painting everything the first day you get your car to black, in my opinion, is over. So I had to take this car, we had to take the emblems off, which we're waiting for the new emblems. This roll bar, as you'll see in maybe later in this video, maybe in another video, but we had to strip that. We had to use aircraft stripper to strip that, sand it down, polish it again, and make it look like a proper bar. Same thing with this pan underneath here. But the list goes on. Come with me. The side steps, they were painted black. Now, it's something we do, like a lot of people like it, but for me, for a car, again, like of this caliber, you don't spray paint stuff and just make it what's called. Now, as we go along, so we had to do that, then we had to come to the front. This guy was painted black. The Mercedes emblem was painted black. All this was painted black. Now, can you get a close-up, Cole, do you see this? So even this chrome grill, which is off a G65, you see how I can chip it? See how all the chrome is showing up from underneath? Well, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be chrome. So some guy, again, got the truck and said, oh, let's make it cool and whatever, and spray paint everything. So what I'm basically saying for this specific truck, we're middle way through of making it proper again. So you'll be seeing either again in this video or in a video later of me putting all the real Brabus stuff back on. The Brabus B's got to go back on. This has to go back to chrome. Everything has to work. There's some little things here and there that were just neglected by the old owners. But once this car is done, this might be the nicest one out there with the white octagon interior, the white exterior. And I don't know if you notice in the video, this one's diamond white, so it has this yellowish tinge to it. And the 4x4 squared is polar white, like straight white. Wheel-wise, the 4x4 square has the factory 22-inch wheels on it with the open country tires that we put on. The 6x6 has the factory Hutchinson wheels. So these are called beadlock wheels. So basically they're three pieces. The front comes off, the back comes off, the center goes inside the wheel and gets bolted on with these bolts. Now, this is a factory size. This came with the 6x6. We just put a set of ridge grapplers on it. I'm sure you guys have seen on the internet that these things, you can adjust the air pressure inside with a button, so you can air it all down, all three axles, or you can do the front and the rear separately. The 4x4 squared, again, it's more of a looks car. This is a North American thing. So we put the more aggressive tires on it because we just thought it looked a little bit cooler. Brabus center caps, but all factory suspension. Let's take a look actually now that we're here. Those were Öhlins. These are KWs. Now, KW and Öhlin are both crazy suspension manufacturers, so that's pretty cool that they both have it. To answer your question, Cole, I would never change a KW or an Olin part in any car if it came with it. If it was some Monroe shock or something like that, yeah, maybe. But something of this caliber, European spec, you never touch it. So guys, these are the two cars. Like I said, there's a bunch to do to them. I don't know if we'll get to it in this video or not, but as we go along, you will see me doing upgrades to both cars. In contrast, you look at both of them. Which one would I want? Well, probably, I don't know. I love both of them. Guys, enough talking about these two cars. The only best way to describe them to you is if we get in them and take them for a drive. So let's do that right now. We'll start with the 4x4. I'm driving the BRABUS B40 500. So this is a 4x4 squared by BRABUS, but in this case, this wasn't done in Germany. This was done by us at SR Auto Group in Vancouver, BC. So same idea. Now, the only thing that's different from a car that's done in Germany, B40 500 in Germany, and in North America at BRABUS USA or in Vancouver at SR, is the interior that we don't do. So this is a bone stock interior of a G550 4x4 squared. So I kind of paused there because it's a little bit confusing. In North America, these are called G550s. In Europe, these are called G500s, right? These 4x4s. Now, BRABUS, once they do the tuning and the upgrades and what have you, ends up being called a B40 500. So that's what this is now. So as the same as with the 6x6, it has all the same upgrades, the exterior stuff, whatever, which we'll show you when we get out. But interior wise, the difference is that the 6x6s were based on 2014, 2015 G63s. So the interior was a little bit different. It had the smaller screen. It didn't have this bigger, I believe it's a TFT screen or LCD screen. I don't know which one. So it had that. OEM stuff is about the exact same. The 463s are really, really similar. However, a G63 had, let's say, diamond stitched, better leather, so on and so forth. This car had the nicer carbon in the black and whatever, and the newer electronics. Now, what's so different about this car? Nothing, except it's missing one more axle and it's missing that pickup truck bed in front of us. So really, it's about the same car. It's missing a couple hundred horsepower as well, compared to the 6x6. But other than that, I really like this car for, again, it's not an everyday driver unless you're going from point A to point B where there's no overhead clearance issues. But again, it drives really, really easy. The BRABUS upgrades are on point. They both have the BRABUS exhaust, which you can control with the buttons here. Like, listen to it, Cole. You can't hear anything, right? It's a quiet G-Wagon drive. It's not like if you took the video now and went outside and said, hey, we're driving this thing, you would expect buffeting, the tires making a bunch of noise, so on and so forth. But really, it's a regular car, other than the way it looks and the fact that it's 5 feet off the ground and it looks like it's going to kill you type thing. So I prefer driving this than the 6x6, only because that one's a little bit, hey, look at me. And when I say a little bit, it's just a touch more than this. This is still pretty obnoxious.
Maybe more than a touch.
Fine. But either way, it's a great SUV. Now, these things have done crazy things with their values up and down. I think they were brand new, 250 grand. At one point, they were 450 grand. I'm talking regular 4x4 squares. This car is probably worth about 400 grand Canadian now. But it's special to me because it was one of the first ones I did. It has 5,800 kilometers, so what is that, 3,500 miles or so, somewhere around there. But it's absolutely anything that came from BRABUS for this vehicle was included in this car. Other than this god-awful steering wheel, which my customer put on, which is aftermarket, big, thick carbon, whatever. This has all got to come off and go back to stock. But this thing is pretty much, well, all original inside. It has BRABUS door pins. It has the BRABUS LED entry lights. It has the BRABUS floor mats. All the regular stuff you would get from the BRABUS catalog. But I love this thing. I really, really like this thing.
And it feels like when you're driving it, what's it feel like compared to a regular G-Wagon?
Regular G-Wagon, it does feel a bit wobbly, this thing. Like it is big, and because it doesn't have that third axle like the 6x6 does, it almost feels like a little bit tippy, you know what I mean? But I guarantee you, and I'm speaking from experience, this thing will not tip unless you're a complete idiot driving it. Like you'd have to be doing serious numbers and like going around a corner where a regular car shouldn't be going around at a speed that a truck shouldn't be going around for this thing to roll over. Now, you got to use common sense, and when you're using common sense in a car like this, you won't have any issues at all. Yeah.
It's down a few hundred horsepower, but it's also down a lot of weight on the 6x6.
A lot of weight.
Feel similar in power?
You know what? No, the 6x6 still has that extra kick. But you got to remember, this is based on a G550 motor, and that's based on a G63 motor. So that's an AMG motor. This is a non-AMG motor, right? So even when Brabus tunes it, well, there's not much they can do.
Even though you probably never use them,
yeah.
What kind of off-road capabilities did they add in on the Brabus package?
So the Brabus package leaves the underpinnings the same. So the 6x6, 6 wheels, air inflation, it's centralized, portal axles. They both have portal axles. Portal axles have been used since World War II technology. It is World War II technology on the Unimogs and so on and so forth. What Mercedes has done with these two vehicles, Brabus couldn't touch. You know what I mean? Like the 6x6 has Öhlins suspension, which is one of the world's top suspension manufacturers. Mercedes has already designed it to be the most off-road capable vehicle. Brabus just made it quicker, added the aesthetics, and that was it. You know what I mean? So I would never touch these two cars for off-roading prowess. It is what it is, and that's what it'll stay. So every G-Wagon has the 3 buttons, lockers. If it's the old style, there's the lockers are somewhere else. One is for the center axle, one's for the front axle, one's for the rear axle. There's a special way you gotta turn it on. You can't just press it, it won't turn on. Like nothing will happen if I press these buttons. You have to be in neutral, you gotta be in low range, you gotta be standing still. So they do that because once you put these on and you start actually driving, if you forget to, let's say, leave the center axle engaged, you could literally blow the center diff if you're driving even at this speed. Funny that we say that. My 6x6, the one that was there, nobody used the lockers on the white one that I have, so we had to rebuild all 3 of them. I think it cost like 18 grand US or so, somewhere around there to do that. It's one of those things, you get a special car, you got to take care of it, especially. It's not just about G-Wagons, it's about anything. Bugattis, P1s, whatever. You're never going to know what the guy prior to you did, even if you have the provenance and whatever. You always do it yourself, right? Like the Veyron I bought, yeah, I had receipts from whatever, but first of all, I needed a service, needed new tires, needed new this, needed new that, and I did it all. You know what I mean? At least that way I know what I have is as best as it's going to be. And it's the same with any special car. There's 99 6x6s in the world. Who really knows how to take care of one in North America, right? So that's what it is. So guys, we're in the Brabus B700 6x6. Now this one's fully done by Brabus. There's about 99 of the 6x6s in the world. I believe there's only 13 of the B700s ever made. So on the 13 of the Brabus B700s that they've built, the interior, if it's an actual Brabus car, it's done in Germany at the Brabus factory. It's called Brabus Fine Leather. So you can pretty much stitch it however you want it. In this case, they went with this octagon pattern and whatever, and they put the B700 in the headrest, then octagon all the way through. Not to mention that they did the carbon fiber in white, and they did this grainy leather, which I'm not exactly a big fan of because Mercedes uses Nappa, which is smooth and really nice, but I don't know if you can see it, Cole, but all of it's grainy. It almost looks like it's the cheaper leather, although it's the most expensive. Other than that, really guys, the regular Brabus emblems, like the 700 emblem here, all the stuff, the B700s and the 6x6s, all of them have 4 seats, but pretty much it's all about luxury in here. It's not an off-roading truck. It's not, although it's very capable, it's meant to be like you're at Rodeo Drive inside a regular G63. In this case, black and white to match the exterior, black and white. Really, really nice, really, really luxurious. Probably one of the nicer G63s or 6x6s you'll probably see. So now I've driven every G-Wagon, from cabrios to V8 cabrios, 6-cylinder cabrios, G63s, G65s, all of them. I've driven every car. I find the G65 to be one of the most difficult cars to drive because it has a heavier front end because of the motor. The G63, the B700 6x6 is probably the most comfortable to drive. Now, I don't know if it's because it's very well balanced in my mind, like it has the V8 in the front, a lot of weight in the back because of the extra 2 axles. Now, what I find is this car is more planted, really easy to drive. It doesn't waver, it doesn't catch ruts in the street. It's the most stable of all of them to drive. 4x4 is a little bit tippy for me, the one that's behind us right now. But still more stable than the regular G63s and the G65s, which is counterintuitive if you think about it. You think we're so high up in the air, we have the big tires, we have all this stuff floating in the air. But to be honest, they're both of the best driving vehicles in all of the G63 lineup. At least the 463 chassis before the 463A, the 2019 and ups, I feel like the 6x6 is probably the best one to drive, period. If you take a good look at it, both the vehicles, they're not that wide. A G63 is probably, a regular G63 is probably a pretty narrow vehicle in itself. Now, these guys have the fender flares that are a bit wider, but in general, overall, it is not a very difficult or big car to drive or worry about. So I find this probably one of the easiest ones to drive, period.
What about the power?
Power, it's a B700 from BRABUS. Usually these things, G63 from 2013 to 2018 have about 560 horsepower or so. The BRABUS one has redone turbos, redone ECU map, downpipes, 400 cell cats. It literally has everything done to it, and it does 700 horsepower. It is quick. It has a exhaust system that has valves, so it can be loud, it can be quiet. It has it all. So as for speed, you would think that the weight slows it down, but the BRABUS engine upgrade pretty much makes it one of the quickest ones I've ever driven. It is a heavy car. At the end of the day, it has 6 axles, just those axles in itself, trying to get those to start turning. But it's not slow either. You know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of cars that this could take off the line very easily. But I've never tried it. There's no point. This is pretty much what I hate to say it, but this is you trying to say, hey, who's got the coolest car? Who's got the biggest whatever? That's what this car is all about. And really, there's no utility to it. You're not going to take this car off-roading unless you're completely don't care. You're not going to put stuff in the pickup bed. It's none of that, right? This is literally, hey, I have the coolest G-Wagon in the world. There's 100 of them, and that's that. There's no reason this car should have ever been built, except for idiots like me who went ahead and spent big money and said, hey, I want the coolest, biggest, baddest truck. Now, I'm an idiot like 4 times over because I've done this 4 times. I've had a black one, a white one. We've done them all, right? But this one's a special car. I'm sure everybody knows this was Dan Blazarian's car. He was the first guy to actually bring this car into the United States and have it legalized so he could drive it. Now, this car is really special. It was rough when we got it. There's a bunch of stuff that this car needed. So we're going to fix this one up. We're going to sell it and move on to the next one. And I'm sure there's going to be a next one. So we're back at the shop. We're with the 6x6. Now, I was telling you guys a lot about what we need to do and get this thing back to running shape. Not running shape, but aesthetically pleasing shape. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to take the headlight covers off, the grille off, get rid of all this so we can actually get rid of this black paint. And the biggest thing is we're going to install the BRABUS logo. So let me show you. We got a package from BRABUS the other day, which includes most of this stuff. So what do we got here? We got the Brabus. Oh, these are not the Brabus center caps. These are my Bugatti center caps. So we got the first Brabus logo that was painted in black, so I got that to put on. We have Brabus center caps, I believe. Yep. So remember I was telling you guys about making the wheels polished? Well, here's the center caps for the 6x6 if we do end up doing that. So that'll go right here. So I have 8 of those because they don't sell them in 6s, unfortunately. So I got those. I have the biggest item, which is the B logo. So the way this works, Cole, it's actually really, really cool. I'll show you. Let's push this out of the way. So the center part of the logo is this big black housing. So what we have to do is we literally got to cut out the Mercedes emblem, install this logo right there, and then on top of that, the chrome accent pieces go on. So here's the last accent piece, which is the chrome surround with the bees that go on top of this and go in the middle of the car, which you'll see right there. So that's the last piece on this car in the front. Also, I'm gonna get them repainted because I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but it looks a little bit of a different color. Like you can see the diamond white here, but you can see too much diamond white here. And it almost looks like the front centerpiece is yellowed a little bit more from the heat. So anyway, I'm gonna have these 3 items painted. We're gonna take off the black. We're gonna install the B logo. We have the floor mats that also arrived. We're gonna put those back in. So these are the actual floor mats that came with the car initially. So I'm gonna put those back in. We're gonna have the rear bumper, stain the bed, and this car should be done. I don't know how much we're gonna get done in this video, guys, but we'll show you a little bit of us disassembling the front with Martin. I don't know if you guys remember Martin. He used to do these videos and say a lot, and nowadays he doesn't say anything anymore. Martin, you wanna say something?
Not really.
Not really, he wants nothing to do with this. It's actually quite simple, 4 bolts and 2 screws on each side. Interesting fact, in California, the front end of these cars get stolen quite often because you really don't have to do anything to steal them. And what they do is the thieves take these and put them on older G-Wagons to make them look like the G63s. In our case, we're taking it off to get it repainted. Other than us taking the front end and stuff apart, there's a bunch of stuff we're still gonna have to do that I keep remembering as I walk around the car. One other thing, I don't know if you can tell, Cole, when you look at the side of the car, usually this is where you can see if there's any dents or dings or damage. The car has no body damage, but you can see that this rubber molding on the side here is all wavy. It's wavy and it doesn't look straight. So anyway, these rubber pieces always come off the car when somebody wraps the car or installs, I don't know, whatever, like paint protection, what have you. These pieces come off, you do the paint protection, you do the wrap, and then you put them back on. So when you take these off, they have metal inside them, and what happens is the metal basically bends inside there and you can never get it straight again. So what you gotta do is you gotta either remove and replace them, or actually take them off, take the inner metal out, and then double-sided tape them back on. Well, these guys who installed these back on, they use double-sided tape, but they never took the metal out. That's why you can see this bumpy, this is the worst one, if you can see the waviness on the side. So we'll have to replace that. There's little things like we have to, because we replaced the roll cage, we have to put the silicone back in here. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do, but again, as I said earlier, once this thing is done, it will be by far the best one of the, I believe, 13 Brabus vehicles that are around. I know I shouldn't say this, but I've probably broken 20 of these in my time. From the factory, it has this really crazy barb fitting that goes into this hose here, and it's almost impossible to get out. 7 out of 10 times I've broken it. Martin's better at this than I am, so I let him do it, let the professionals do the job, but whenever I've done it, I've broken it. Literally, he has the patience to take it apart. Me, no. If you want to come over here, so you see the headlamp washer?
Yeah.
So there's 2 90-degree washer nozzles and a hose that goes through this grill to the other side, and it's always the piece that we break. It's somehow we break it. And luckily I have many upstairs as backups. So as we're standing around here, guys, I'm watching Martin take the grill apart. I'm looking closely at some of these items, and I noticed that these bumper caps are actually installed incorrectly. So there's a left and right, so that's supposed to go there, that's supposed to go here, and if you can see how it's not lined up properly, here and here, and it doesn't go all the way back into the bumper. So we're gonna have to change these. Now, usually on a regular G63, it's as quick as 2 bolts, but on a 6x6 or a G65, it has this pan. So we gotta take this pan off and then get to the bolts from underneath. So we'll have to do that as we go along in the videos and the restoration of this car. See this blue? This is what I meant by somebody's wrapped it before and took the side pieces off and didn't do it properly, so that's what we're fixing. So guys, it's that time of the video again where I gotta say goodbye to you. We've looked at a lot of cars today. We looked at our B40 BRABUS G500, our 6x6, our B700, also by BRABUS. I wanted to leave you with one last thing. Our merchandise is coming that you guys have been asking for. I'm wearing our 463 one, so it's like it's a desert camo with the 463. So 463 is the chassis code for all the G-Wagons, 2006 and newer. I don't even know, but 463 is the chassis code for this generation G-Wagons. We have a 670, we have the Bugatti one for the 16.4. We have a whole bunch of stuff. You can see it online in the next week or so. Again, thank you for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you don't like something I'm doing, if you hate it, comment below. I take constructive criticism. If you like what we're doing, tell me that as well. It makes me want to do another video for you guys. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.